us more comfortable with what we're using. So then let us look at the written part of the language. Written part of the language is again very important because written part is what provides the standard. English got standardized when printing machine was invented. It contributed to a great extent. So previously when people used to write down and keep documents, there were differences in different parts of the country. But it was the printing press which forced people to write in a particular way. The invention of typewriter forced some languages to change because typing was difficult in particular ways. So they simplified languages, say for example in Tamil. So you find that an internet for example, it again changes quite a lot of things, the way the words that we use, it's standardized. When we text something, how many people use A-R-E-U-R or they just use R? This is the text. The texting language is so different from the language you would write it for an essay. So you find that again, the conventions of writing differ from the way we use. And those particular conventions can be expedited by aid, by the user, by a whole range of factors. But in the case of language, it's very important again to see that languages get standardized, the usages get approved. Usages get approved because people think that that particular usage is very useful, and therefore that gets approved. Then listening, for example, is the other side of speaking. So we again have those ideas that those particular words, the more we understand how the sound works, how a particular language uses sounds, then the more comfortable we are. Now, just about the word, for example, the vocabulary is very important. Say, for example, how many people think of this particular example? Like, for example, if you go to an American university, you have something called a fall term. You come across the word fall? Fall for autumn, because the leaves fall in autumn. So but it's not specifically American. Before it became American, it was used in England. And then England stopped using it. The usage died, and autumn became more popular. But what was exported at that particular time to America, fall, stuck there. So Americans still use the word fall. So it's not specifically American if you look at specific things. The more we understand things like that, we can make some of the distinctions. But also being aware of those particular distinctions is very important. Can somebody give me what petrol is called in America? Gas? What biscuit is called in America? Cookie? Cookie? Right. Anything else you can think of like that? Something different in America, something here?
Diaper.
Yeah, diaper for nappies.
Trash. Rubbish.
Right? Okay, so there you see that same item is called with different names in the two countries. And that's why, have you heard of this person called Oscar Wilde, the famous writer? He said, America and Britain, we think, they're all English-speaking countries, they're in the same circle and all. He said America and Britain are two countries divided by language. They're not united by language, they're divided by language in the way that, people use things, so people use the different words, different pronunciation, different things. So all the four aspects that we are talking about. So the key point is that there again you see that this, although Huxley puts it in the inner circle, but within inner circle there are circles within circles. Then of course there are regional areas. So now let's go back to this particular argument that I'm trying to put forward, which is that for establishment of another, or an establishment of a variety, there is a need for establishing the variations in all the four aspects. That's four communicative aspects: reading, listening, writing, and speaking here. Now, what I want to do is that I want to go back to this particular argument, which is central, that the formation of a variety is an emotional thing. This is something which I want to stress again. It's to do with emotions. It's to do with particular variety for something which is not just utilitarian, not just for jobs, but for something which is emotional. And one person who really did it well in that particular sense is a writer called Chinua Achebe. How many of you heard of a writer from Nigeria called Chinua Achebe? One, two. Okay, I'm going to play a short clip. He recently died last year, and the important thing about Chinua Achebe, why I chose this particular writer compared to a whole range of writers, is that he was one of the earliest writers. He was the early writer, so to speak. He set the tone for writing in English in Nigeria. So what he did was to write without inhibition, write without worrying about the audience. This is again very important, because it is when the writer writes in a language without worrying about another audience, then it becomes an indigenous variety. If a Nigerian writer always thinks, oh, if I write this, will they understand this in Luton? Then he will always be constrained by how it will be received elsewhere. But if he's writing how it will be received by Igbo, how it will be received by other Nigerians, then it is at that particular point that he liberates the language and connects with the